Look around you. The world is full of people living on autopilot, drifting with the current of comfort. They choose the easy path, then wonder why their lives don't change, why they're stuck, why their dreams remain just dreams. Comfort is the enemy of growth. Evolution happens under pressure. Steel is forged in fire, and your character, your will, your spirit, all of it forms in moments of resistance when you overcome the natural desire to stop, to quit, to retreat. The psychology of a champion has nothing to do with natural talent. In my life, I've seen people with enormous potential lose to those who had just one superpower: iron discipline. Talent without discipline is like a car without fuel. Impressive, but useless. Every morning when you wake up, you face a choice. Your body asks for 5 more minutes of sleep. Your mind invents excuses. I'm tired. Today is special. I deserve a break. And in that moment, your fate is decided. In that ordinary, unremarkable moment, will you choose comfort or will you choose growth? Champions make that decision long before that moment arrives. They don't battle themselves every morning. They've set a standard for their lives. They've defined who they are and what they want to achieve. And when the time comes to act, there's no question anymore. There's only action. Many think that winners experience less fear, less fatigue, less doubt. That's a fundamental misconception. They feel all the same things you do. The difference is that for them, these feelings aren't signals to stop. They're just information, noise, interference they continue to move through. The psychology of a champion is built on understanding one simple truth: your feelings lie, your mind lies. They tell you that you can't, that it's too hard, that you've reached your limit. It's a defense mechanism designed to conserve energy, avoid risk, stay in the comfort zone. But the life you want exists beyond that zone. Always. That's why it's so important to learn to act despite your feelings. Not to suppress them, but to acknowledge them and move forward anyway. Yes, I'm scared, and I'll do it anyway. Yes, I'm tired, and I'll train anyway. Yes, I doubt myself, and I'll move forward anyway. This ability isn't innate, it's trained, like a muscle. With every decision to act when you don't feel like it, you strengthen this muscle. With every resistance overcome, you become stronger, and gradually, what seemed impossible becomes routine. The real struggle doesn't happen in the ring, on the field, or on the stage. It happens in the quiet of your mind, when no one is watching. When there's no applause, when there's no external pressure, when it's just you and your choice. Most people lose this inner battle daily. They give in to their weaknesses, justify them, rationalize them. Tomorrow, Monday, after the holidays. And then they wonder why life passes by while they stand still. Champions win this battle more often than they lose it. Not always. Nobody's perfect, but often enough to create momentum, to form a habit, to become who they've decided to be. And you know what happens then? Magic. What seemed difficult becomes easier. What seemed impossible becomes achievable. Not because the world has changed, but because you have. Self-discipline is freedom, paradoxical but true. When you can make yourself do what needs to be done, regardless of your mood, you gain power over your life. You're no longer a slave to your impulses, your emotions, your weaknesses. You become the master of your destiny. It's not an easy path, but did you choose an easy path? Do you aspire to mediocrity? Are your goals small and insignificant? Number. You're here because something greater lives inside you. Potential that demands realization. A fire that requires fuel. And that fuel is daily action. Regardless of circumstances, regardless of mood, regardless of whether you feel like it or not. Take a world-class athlete. Do you think they want to get up at 5 every morning? To push themselves to exhaustion in training? To follow a strict diet? To give up pleasures available to others? Of course not. But they do it. Day after day. Year after year. Because they understand victory isn't forged in the moment of competition. It's forged in thousands of small decisions made long before that. The same goes for the entrepreneur building an empire, the artist creating a masterpiece, the leader changing the world. They act when others look for excuses. They continue when others give up. They see through the fog of the present moment to the clear picture of what could be. But there's a secret rarely discussed. Discipline generates not only results, it generates self-respect. Deep, fundamental respect that comes when you know you've kept a promise made to yourself, when you've proven to yourself that your word means something, that you can rely on yourself, and that feeling is priceless. It's stronger than any temporary pleasure, any short-term comfort. It's the foundation of confidence that no external recognition can provide. So don't wait for inspiration. Don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for the perfect moment. These are all illusions that mediocrity feeds on, justifying inaction. Act now, and inspiration will come in the process. Act now, and motivation will arise from your results. Act now, because the perfect moment doesn't exist. Everyone who has achieved something significant faced the same resistance you do, the same doubts, the same fear, the same fatigue. But they found the strength to act despite it. And you can too. It's your choice. Every moment, every day. The psychology of a champion begins with recognizing the power of the present moment. Not yesterday, not tomorrow, but right now. In this moment, you decide to remain who you are or to become who you can be. Difficulty isn't an obstacle on the path. It is the path. Every challenge overcome, every effort made, every moment when you choose action instead of excuses shapes you, creates your character, determines your destiny. You think I don't know what it's like to struggle with yourself? You think I don't know how tempting it is to postpone until tomorrow what requires effort today? I do. Everyone does. It's part of human nature. But greatness begins where excuses end. Stop looking for easy paths. They only lead to mediocrity. Accept difficulty as a necessary part of the process, as the price for what you want to achieve, as proof that you're moving in the right direction. When you start seeing difficulties as opportunities for growth, everything changes. What used to cause resistance now sparks interest. What used to seem like an obstacle now becomes a stepping stone. What used to frighten you now becomes a challenge. It's a paradigm shift, and it's available to you right now. Many people live in reaction mode. They react to external circumstances, to their emotions, to others' opinions. They allow the world to determine their actions. Champions live in proactive mode. They make decisions based on their goals, their values, their vision of the future. They define the world by their actions. This difference seems insignificant, but it's fundamental. It determines who controls your life, you or circumstances. The choice is yours, always. When you understand that every action is an investment in your future, everything becomes clearer. What you do today determines who you become tomorrow. Every workout, every hour of work, every moment when you overcome resistance, it's a contribution to your future self. And you know what? No one can make these investments for you. No one can overcome difficulties for you. No one can build your character for you. It's your responsibility and your privilege, because ultimately, the greatest reward isn't a medal, a trophy, or applause. It's the person you become in the process. A person who doesn't retreat in the face of difficulties, who keeps promises made to themselves, who knows the price of discipline and is willing to pay it day after day. I see that person in you, even if you don't see it in yourself yet. I see your potential, your strength, your greatness. It's there, inside you, waiting for you to release it through action, not through thoughts about action, not through plans of action, not through talking about action, through action itself, here and now. Many people spend their lives preparing to act. They plan, they dream, they visualize. All of these have their place, but none of them replace action itself. The moment when you actually do what needs to be done, despite resistance. This moment is the moment of truth. The moment when your character fully manifests. When your values transform from words into reality. When your ambitions meet your readiness to act. And you know what's most amazing? With practice, it gets easier. Not because the actions themselves become simpler. You continue to grow, so the complexity increases. But because your ability to overcome resistance strengthens, you learn to act regardless of your feelings. You learn to trust the process, not momentary emotions. This is the psychology of a champion. Understanding that your feelings are an unreliable advisor when it comes to actions necessary for achieving great goals. That discipline isn't punishment, but a tool of freedom. That every moment of resistance is an opportunity for growth. Stop looking for motivation outside yourself. It's within you. In your decision to act regardless of mood. In your commitment to yourself. In your understanding that action generates results and results generate motivation. This cycle always begins with action. When you're tired, when you're frustrated, when you feel like you're not making progress, when doubts fill your mind, that's when the moment of truth arrives. The moment when you show yourself what you're really made of, when you prove that your commitment is stronger than your mood, that your vision of the future is brighter than the discomfort of the present. That's the whole difference. Mediocrity gives up when it gets hard. Champions continue, especially when it gets hard, because they understand difficulty isn't a signal to stop. It's a signal that you're growing, that you're challenging your limitations, that you're becoming more than you were yesterday. This is the path of transformation, a path where you not only achieve goals, but become a person capable of achieving ever greater goals. A person whose standards constantly rise, whose discipline becomes not a burden, but second nature. This path is available to you right now, not tomorrow, not when circumstances become ideal, not when you're ready. Now, at this very moment, choose action instead of excuses. Choose discipline instead of regret. Choose progress instead of comfort. And make this choice again and again, day after day, because ultimately your life is the sum of your choices, and each choice in favor of action, especially when you don't feel like acting, brings you closer to the version of yourself that lives in your dreams. That version is real. It's waiting for you. It's created by your every action, every challenge overcome, every moment when you choose the difficult but right path instead of the easy but empty one. The psychology of a champion is simple. Do what needs to be done, even when it's the last thing you want to do, especially when it's the last thing you want to do, because it's in these moments that you grow. It's in these moments that you create your destiny. It's in these moments that you become a champion. Not in the moment of victory, not in the moment of recognition, but in thousands of inconspicuous moments of choice when no one is watching, when there's only you and your decision. Choose greatness now and every day, because you deserve a life created on your terms, a life where you maximize your potential, a life you'll remember with pride, not regret. This life begins with one decision, with one action. Right now, stand up, take a step, and don't stop no matter what happens, because the champion inside you is waiting for its moment. The moment when you decide that you've had enough of living below your potential, that you've had enough of excuses, that it's time for action. This is your time. Use it.